We are live. I'm kind of curious to see how long it lags from here to YouTube. I'm going to type on Discord here. And I need to mute that. It looks like it's just a few seconds. But I see us on YouTube. Looks like we're good to go. I need to get a green screen because there's this like weird area up here that doesn't it doesn't necessarily fade out quite as well. All right. I'm wondering if, so if anybody's tuning in now, I think I made a mistake in scheduling input 11 p.m. today, but my banner did say 11 a.m., so I'm hoping more people looked at that. I wonder if we should throw a tweet out just saying we're live now.
Why not?
Yeah, I'll do that. It's going to take people a few minutes to get in here anyway, so.
Hello, Books Rule. How are you doing today?
Hey, how's it going? Bear with me while I multitask here. I'll look at the chat here in a sec. We are live now. Tweet skis. All right. So Wilby says, I'm here. Also, you guys were very laggy.
It's just our natural state of being.
You know, my screen does, or my video feed going into this StreamYard does look laggy.
Does mine to you?
Yours doesn't.
Okay. Yeah, I noticed yours looks kind of laggy and mine, on my end is smooth, but...
Let me try. I'm using a better camera this time. Let me see if I can switch it over. Try
As
this
everyone can
FaceTime.
see, we're very professional.
Yeah, we're new with the live stream stuff, so it still seems really laggy with the FaceTime camera. For me, anyways. That's all right. You get to see my face, I guess. I'm wearing a little beanie because, well, number one, because my ears are cold. The headphones help with that. But I also tried to give myself a haircut about a week and a half ago, and it didn't go so well. So I ended up having to make it really short. All right. So just so you guys know, we are going to be doing a public stream here. We're gonna listen to episode 2, A Conspicuous Suspect. Might chime in with some commentary, and then we may have some time for a few questions from the general public. But then once we're done with that, we're gonna hop over to Patreon for some guest participation from the patrons and Q&A and stuff like that there. We have a kind of a tight-knit little group that usually shows up for these. I don't know if anybody's going to be showing up or not. I'm sure if a couple people are here, we might have a couple people there. But yeah, do you want to go ahead and get started here? And always, chat if you guys have questions in the meantime or while this is playing. Just type them in. We'll address them as we go here. I can either do the audio or if you want to, Nathan.
Oh, no. Sounds like you already had it rolling, so.
All right. Here we go. Episode 2, A Conspicuous Suspect. And let me know if the volume levels are doing okay for you guys. You're listening to The Storage Papers. It's so weird to hear yourself talk. Still weird after all this time. Tessa just tossed a friend over a link. Hopefully she can listen too. That'd be sweet. The more the merrier, I say.
Exactly.
You were just going to say that, huh? I love this music. I turn that up just a little bit. Episode 2, A Conspicuous Suspect. That got loud.
Yep.
Is that loud enough for you guys? I've got about 60% up here. Law enforcement has to be one of the toughest jobs
I think that's
imaginable,
coming through fine.
especially in today's world where there have been so many issues related to racial tension and the growing concerns of fair treatment by the police. And I was trying not to get political on this. Police officer must find that delicate balance between maintaining an element of personal safety and protecting the public. Awesome. As I've begun digging into these files, I realize now more than ever what kinds of things are intentionally placed into police reports and what kind of information remains hidden, regardless of their pertinence in any ongoing investigation. This document appears to be a letter to someone named Ron.
It might be worth
assuming
turning
he's a civilian,
either the audio
from
for
a
the
Detective
episode
Mark
down just a
Anderson.
little or you up some,
Mentioned
because
which
I just
agency
realized
he's
when you
from,
talk, I don't know which of you
but
I'm
it
hearing.
reads, All right. Ron, it's been a
That's
long time.
down.
I hope you're doing well. I was told you're still looking into these kinds of things.
Yeah, who is this
This
Ron
is another
guy?
one I will unfortunately be unable to include.
I hear he's
in
a
our active
bastard.
investigation, but I do think it's
Not to
Seems
be
a little
trusted.
jerk.
If you could do me a favor and let me know if you have any helpful info, or if you can recall anything resembling what I describe in my notes below.
Yeah, the music
definitely
here.
put
This
me
is
on.
Kevin McLeod.
I'll
I
keep
think
you
I'm
posted
saying
if I
that
make any
correctly.
headway on my end.
I used a lot of that royalty-free
Notes
music
from
early
Benjamin
on
Scanlon interview
from his site,
pertaining to the
incompetech.com.
submitted USB drive, Saturday, March 13th, 2015. Mr. Scanlon reported
Sketchy.
in person to our division, believing he had some sensitive information regarding an open homicide investigation. He claims he was anonymously shipped a flash drive with video footage of a local hotel parking lot showing a, quote, conspicuous individual with odd behavior.
I'm going to pause it here for a sec. So this episode got a lot of criticism from the public. Can you turn it up just a bit? Yeah, I'll turn it up a little bit here when I start playing again. Basically, the episode was like, who in the world would just open a flash drive on their computer from a stranger? And I agree, but this is fiction. Let's just roll with it.
He believes there's a possible connection to the man found dead at the hotel just 2 days prior. It should be noted that we are still attempting to positively ID the victim. Mr. Scanlon indicated he recognized the hotel in the video because he saw local news stories covering the homicide the night before he received the flash drive in the mail. Apparently, the news reporter had been broadcasting from across the street with a similar wide-angle shot of the entire hotel and its parking lot.
Very
Mr.
important
Scanlon
for the
profusely stated he didn't want
What's
anything
that?
to do with the video
So
or the
to be
case,
fair, it was Ben
and
who
he
opened
felt
it,
that
right?
coming
Not Mark
forward and
Anderson.
handing over the flash drive
Right.
voluntarily
Yeah.
Not initially,
may
yeah.
not only help with the
Just a normal
investigation,
guy.
but he also wanted to know why he was being sent the drive and by whom.
This is a
He
central
was, of
episode
course,
to
so
the whole
concerned that the
series
man he
right here,
referred to
by
as
the way.
the Grinner was following him.
Ooh. I don't remember that effect, but I like it.
And there may be some kind of a connection to this flash drive. Refer to my previous notes from March 5th. He couldn't recall ever staying in that hotel, and he didn't recognize the man in the video. Mr. Scanlon did have some concerns for his own safety given the gruesome finding of the deceased, who had been found decapitated due to a close-range gunshot wound to the head. A 12-gauge shotgun was recovered from the scene that had been discharged.
That'll do
At
it.
this point in the investigation, it has yet to be determined if the gunshot wound was self-inflicted. Prior to my viewing of the video, I asked Mr. Scanlon what I should expect to see on the video and in the files also included on the flash drive.
Yeah,
He
warn
replied,
me.
I don't know how to explain it. You'll just have to watch, but it's definitely weird.
Like, should I have a puke bucket ready?
I need to make like a Grinner
Regarding the
Snapchat
files, he said
filter.
he didn't feel comfortable looking at them because he thought
You need to make
they
a what?
looked like medical
A
records.
Grinner Snapchat
He didn't
filter.
want to remain at the station
Yes.
while I viewed the video, but he provided me with
Highly
his
needed.
contact information with a request to update him on anything I find and in case I need to ask him any further questions.
Oh, you will.
After he left, I plugged in the USB drive on my desk computer.
I guess I plugged it in there.
There were only 2 items present at first glance on the drive. A folder with some text files in it and an MP4 video file. I opened the video file first. It appeared as it was described, security video footage of a hotel parking lot. There's a time and date stamp in the lower corner. It's dated March 11th, 2015, and the video starts around 8:02 p.m. and 40 seconds.
All right, pausing it again, just so people know, we take great effort in getting dates and times accurate on this show, even when it comes to historical events and things we talk about in the past. So we're looking at 2015 here.
The video is just over 4 minutes in total duration. It was recorded in infrared and did not contain any sound. I watched for the first couple of minutes without really seeing anything. It was mostly dark, and there were 3 cars within the field of view. The camera must have been mounted above the parking lot and pointed down. I estimated the camera could have been at least 15 feet or so above the ground. At 2 minutes and 56 seconds into the video, I noticed an anomaly. I rewound the video a few seconds and pressed play again. There's a pole in the frame, probably an overhead streetlight, around the left 1/3 of the screen. You can't see the top or bottom of the pole from this angle, but you can see an unobstructed view of the empty parking spaces on either side of it. Almost as if appearing from
I'm
thin
sure
air.
Jeremy would appreciate
person
that
just
database.
appeared
Oh yeah, definitely.
near the right side of the pole and can be seen walking left to right. I have to admit, this footage looks strange. What's so alarming about this is the person doesn't enter the frame from
Welcome,
the left
Mr.
side
F.
or even the bottom. 1 second, you don't see anyone, and the next, you see the person from head to toe near the middle of the screen walking to the right. It's almost as if they come right out from behind the light pole.
It's magic. Demon magic.
First glance, I can't see any evidence that the video has been clipped or altered in any way. There's no pause in motion from the time the person appears. I reviewed the video again and slowed the frames down, looking for any evidence of the person on the left side of the frame. I saw nothing. It's almost as if someone photoshopped the person into frame starting on the right side of the pole.
Always a
The width of the
possibility, that
person's
Photoshop.
body, once they're out from behind the pole, is much wider than the pole itself on the screen. So you'd think you'd be able to see them, even if they'd been standing behind the pole the whole time. It's as if they appeared out of the darkness behind the pole and got caught on camera walking to the right. I rewound it several times again. I wanted to see if the time stamp skipped a few seconds, which could have accounted for this appearance. I was thinking maybe someone split the video in editing. The timestamp upon review indicated continuous recording. I invited my partner, Detective Collins, to view the video, and he immediately dismissed it as being tampered with. It was his belief that
We gotta
someone
get
had
Collins
pulled off
back
an
in the
elaborate
scene here.
hoax, given the circumstances
Where's
and
that guy been?
mysterious appearance of the video and the widespread media coverage. I'm not sure I agree with his assessment, but I'll send the video out for further analysis.
Yeah, so in the chat, distorted images, it's not necessarily a distorted image. I think what we're trying to portray is, you're looking at the security footage, and then all of a sudden this person just appears, but it's like he almost like appears behind a light pole or something. So Jeremy meticulously goes in, he's looking at the timestamp and watching the seconds go, and really noticing no evidence of alteration or photoshopping or anything like that.
Is that Jeremy reviewing that, or is that Anderson?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's Anderson.
Yeah.
I got to get back in my headspace here. It's so hard to keep up when you're narrating all these people.
I reviewed the video time and time again, and I just couldn't put my finger on what was so peculiar about it. I paused the video on a frame that appeared clearest and printed a still shot to place in the case file. Staring at the paused screen, I examined the person's clothing. It looked like he was dressed in all black. It was a Caucasian man with a buzz cut, or he may have even totally been bald.
resolution on the video was somewhat fuzzy, and listening back to this, I'm thinking
what little street light
Elwood Blues
So
from
I
the
decided
Blues
to
Brothers.
continue watching at quarter speed. The video clip was almost over. The very last portion of the video was what truly unnerved me.
Yeah, Anderson
this was a
and Ben
hoax video
Scanlon both
pulled
in
off
this
very well.
episode.
Or it. Yeah, Anderson's here. Ben Scanlon's here. The Grinner. This is the Grinner's first appearance, and he just never leaves us alone. That punk.
He's been pretty quiet this season.
Video clip
Well,
was
this last
almost
season.
over. Yeah. The very last portion of the video was what truly unnerved me. Either this was a hoaxed video, pulled off very well, or it was some pretty solid evidence of the paranormal. Either way, for fear of ridicule and to avoid persecution at work, I decided not to share the video to its full extent in the homicide investigation. I wonder how often that happens with law enforcement. Right up to one of the windows in the hotel and peered in. I confirmed from the room number on the door that it matched the room number where the victim was found. Something about the way he moved was unnatural. He had kind of a fast-paced timing to his stride, and the way his arms didn't swing when he walked just seemed off. Yeah, that's weird. Who walks without moving their arms? Fairly motionless by his side. Even the size proportion of the man's head seemed strange. The video showed about 5 or 6 seconds of the man looking in the window. Then he started a weird combination of maneuvers with his head to view the inside of the room. I've never seen someone with that range of motion of their head or neck before. His head darted up and down, side to side, and it even appeared as if his neck grew in length, but I couldn't be certain due to how low the resolution was of the footage. We call it rubber neck. Then I noticed him doing something seemingly impossible. His head turned nearly 180 degrees to face the camera so that his chin was almost behind his spine. That would creep me out if I saw that in person. It was almost as if he suddenly became aware of the camera or that someone was watching, and his movement became more stealth-like. With his head still turned completely around, he walked backwards slowly, keeping his head in the same position as he moved closer to the camera. He appeared to look upward to gaze directly at the lens, then he cocked his head backward and turned his head to the side, the same way a dog would when it looks confused. Yeah, I'd be noping out of there real quick. He was standing, and it was difficult to make out any of the facial features. Perhaps it was a result of the lighting or the infrared, but
it wouldn't make a very interesting podcast, though.
They appeared large and solid black. He just stood there in that position, still as a statue, for about 10 seconds or so. I initially thought the video was paused, but the timestamp was still counting. And then static distorted the visible image, and the video ends. Yeah, breaking the fourth wall on the Grinner's party is going to F up anyone watching. Yeah, so maybe that's why Jeremy never publicly released the video. Maybe there's a history of that happening. That'd be interesting. That's not the truth, but it would still be fun.
Or is it?
Oh. Dun, dun, dun. I must admit that as I viewed this portion of the video for the first time, I experienced somewhat of a fight or flight moment. I've seen some strange things on this job, but I'm convinced that if I come forward with my initial impression of this video, the captain would have my badge. I viewed the other files included on the flash drive, and there's over 200 individual text files and PDFs. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to refrain from sharing those with you at this time because they mainly consist of medical records and other confidential information that I'm not at liberty to disclose.
Now he cares.
I can comment on some of the apparent themes of these records, though. Yeah, I'll continue searching. We're not so concerned about getting sued as fictional people. All of these records seem to be from hospitals or doctors' offices within a 50-mile radius of the hotel's address here in San Diego. There's a wide range of various records from entire patient files, radiology and surgical reports, summaries of patient visits, and there's even a few autopsy reports. All of them that I've seen have abnormal findings of some kind, including symptoms like headaches, seizures, unexplained bleeding, periods of missing time. There's psychological evaluations, detection and removal or attempted removal of foreign bodies of unknown origin. And in some instances, there were pathologies that may appear and or disappear from medical tests for unknown reasons over time.
Okay, I'm gonna pause it again. Sorry if the pausing is getting annoying, but I'm like blown away right now at how early this episode is. There's some really pertinent details and information in this, specifically for what is being written for season 4. So this is going to be, I think, before season 4 comes out, we need to release a list of must listen to episodes prior to the S4 premiere, because yeah, I don't want to say too much, but
or everyone can just re-binge the whole thing. I mean,
well, yeah, you know, you could always do that too.
This case is really throwing me for a loop. I'm going to have a tough time justifying the validation of these records unless I can somehow tie them to an active investigation. I think it's a little early to say that might be possible for this one, but I'll dig into these and see if I can cross-reference any of these records with the homicide investigation from the hotel. I will keep you posted if I learn anything new. Thanks for your help, Mark.
Here comes Kevin MacLeod music again. I love this music.
This is obviously a detective that has developed a rapport with Ron, whoever that is, and has consulted with him in the past. I'll be mindful to keep my eyes open for any updates to this case. I wonder if it's currently ongoing or if it was ever solved. Unfortunately, all of these papers don't have any sort of recognizable organization. These certainly aren't in chronological order, and individual files don't seem to be related to others in the same box. Hopefully a pattern will emerge in the future that will shed some light on some of these cases. We'll just have to see.
Oh, yes, it will.
I conducted a brief internet search of the incident at the hotel, and it appears it was, in fact, later deemed a homicide. But I wasn't able to find any indication that a suspect had been apprehended, and no reference has been made public about whether the case is still open or not. I also need to determine whether or not Detective Mark Anderson may still be employed by one of the local law enforcement agencies. But I'm guessing there will be additional information contained within my storage shed about this conspicuous suspect. As a general announcement, please consider reaching out to me if you have any pertinent information regarding this case, either by social media or email. You can direct message me on Twitter and Instagram at The Storage Papers.
I haven't done that in a long
You can
time.
also email me at thestoragepapers@gmail.com. You can even leave me a voicemail at anchor.fm/thestoragepapers.
And I actually
Make sure to
got
reference episode 2, a conspicuous
voicemails,
suspect, in your subject line.
emails. I got a lot of
We'll
stuff
be filing any additional information received in a much more
from
organized
people who
manner, and we'll provide updates to cases as often as
had
possible on
inside
the show.
information, you know, so I don't know if
If you believe you've witnessed something truly unexplainable yourself and would like to share
hold
your
on.
story,
I have thoughts on
I'd
this
be
I want to
glad
share.
to add it to these archives.
Wait till this is
You
over.
just never know whether or not your testimony could be the vital piece of missing information for any of these cases. As always, my mission here is to spread this information.
It's a long
Please
outro.
share via social media so these stories can be told.
Yeah.
Thank you so much
in
for
fairness,
listening.
I feel
I'll
like
be
he
back
was
in
getting
2
so
weeks with
much
some more
weird
documentation.
information that I could understand why Jeremy might not want to be pleading to the public anymore.
Yeah. So at some point it became a conscious decision not to have that in the outro. Because I got a lot of people that were replying in character, we'll say. You know, oh, I heard about that on the news, and you know, have you checked with this person? And you know, of course, I'm reading this going like, what? Like, this is fiction. And it came up a few times in discussion of, people not really understanding this was fiction right away. It took them a few episodes to get in there, but I don't know. I thought it was funny. I wonder how much of that we would get now if we put a outro like that in season 4, given how much the show's grown. I mean, this episode, I think, when it came out, probably got, I don't know, 50 downloads that week. I imagine more people would be reached. The percentage of people responding might be a little bit higher, but anyway, you guys have questions? I want to give the general public a chance to type some questions in the chat there. We're happy to answer some. This was fun to listen to, though, because I mean, it just brings back, it's almost nostalgic. The feeling of the episode and the audio and the music even is so different, back then compared to now. And I think where it's going is going to continue to be a little bit separated, but I don't know. I think maybe we can sprinkle some of that Kevin MacLeod music back in from time to time to help keep that vibe going. Mr. F, my understanding is that real police tip lines get a lot of bogus, genuine sounding tips. Interesting that you did too. Yeah. And again, I don't know if it was people who were just trying to make it seem real or play into the fictional universe.
I mean, it's kind of like if somebody posted a story on no sleep, anyone replying is supposed to reply in character. So I think that's. I'm sure others, if any other podcasts, I haven't heard a lot of podcasts do that, but I'm sure if others did, they'd probably get a lot of the same thing.
Yeah.
Just from that no sleep vibe.
Well, and I still have the voicemails, and I think the Anchor account's still up, which I have to leave up because all that initial audio is being rerouted to the Rusty Quill servers. But yeah, maybe that's something I can include on Patreon. Maybe some of those voice messages. I have to find them, but it's really interesting how they turned out. Let's see. When this started out, was it meant to be an ARG? I mean, when it started out, it was just me. All of season 1 is just me. I didn't even know what an ARG was at that point. So like when season 2, before I launched season 2, I had a whole health issue crisis after season 1, and I started to solicit some help. I actually went on Reddit to see if anybody wanted to write, and I think that's when Nathan and Cody, among several other people, had expressed interest, and Nathan brought that idea up to me. I'm trying to remember when it was, though. Do you remember when you first suggested that? That was all Nathan's idea.
We had talked about doing it before season 2 launched, but I think at the time there was just so much of us figuring out what was going on, and then we got 2 episodes into season 2, I think, before we had to take a break because you lost your voice. So yeah. Everything kind of just went off the rails for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm like I think I'm a big hindrance sometimes. With any health stuff I have or losing my voice, like literally, I mean, I teach on the side, and this is something that's affected my teaching too, where if I talk for maybe 2 hours at a time, my voice is gone. And I don't know why that is, because it wasn't always that way. I used to teach 8 hours straight, maybe 6 hours of that was lecture time. So not sure what's up with that, but I don't know. Maybe I should do some research. And I never made that Gollum juice that you suggested. But
Andy Serkis swears by it.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm missing comments here. What do we have in here? Oh, Mr. F said, I missed this one earlier. I wonder if Archive 81 got tips in their first season. I don't know. It'd be interesting to find out. I should just message them and ask. Yeah, probably. Sometimes the odd just brings out people. It's true. Any Halloween is proof of that. It brings the odd out in myself, I think, as well. So it's really grown beyond what you imagined at first. Definitely. I mean, so when I created this, I wasn't really expecting. I mean, I've never written fiction. I've never done an audio drama. Part of it was kind of a learning process for me, but it was just I had this story in my mind I wanted to get out and just put it out somewhere, whether it was writing a book or, I'd done podcasting before, but more like interview-based types of things. So I just thought it'd be a cool medium to try, and so many different things to consider and approach as a medium compared to like, just writing or versus doing something visual like with a movie. But yeah, anyway. So yeah, it's grown way more than I anticipated. I thought maybe my friends and family and maybe some old podcast listeners might give it a shot, but I really doubt it was going to be for them. It was a very different type of thing. That's weird. No offense. Yeah, it is hard to talk so much. I will say that. Well, I think I have some other questions that people in the Discord have posted and some of the patrons. I think what I'd like to do now is kind of end the public stream here. And what we'll do, we'll hop over to Patreon where the most recent post I had, you'll have to switch stream. So you can either watch it on YouTube there, or if you want to come on here as a guest and chat with us, we're just hanging out, So feel free to do that. I'm going to end this now, and I'll see you in just a second over on Patreon. Thank you for joining us if you're not on Patreon, and we'll do this again soon.
Bye.
Auf Wiedersehen.